Okay, I've got my water, I've got my phone, I've got my internet. Let's go. Hi, Jelly. I'm gonna start my YouTube channel, and I think I'm going to start with a video that approaches a topic that hasn't been talked about a whole lot. Starts with kind of like a niche intro video where I'm gonna be talking about hero shooters. So hero shooters, I guess like the best place to start would be to go back to the beginning, right? And kind of define what a hero shooter is. Hero shooters are typically subgenre of first-person shooters or other shooter-type games that emphasize a difference in identity and classes and abilities between the characters. So each character is pretty identifiable between each other, and they're typically like different classes, right? You've typically got your tanks, your DPS, and your supports. And then within that, there are other like smaller subgenres like dive tanks and poke DPS and, off tanks, whatever. There's all kinds of, however deep into the minutia you want to get. Hero shooters are incredibly complex and fun games. The most notable of which, I guess, is probably Overwatch, but we'll get to that later. Starting back at the beginning, if you can say that, Team Fortress Classic came out, and it was kind of the first of its kind in the what we now know as hero shooter, where it had different classes and specializations. And then in 2007, they released Team Fortress 2, which had those same classes, but it was separated up into individual characters. So, you had your spy and your, I don't know, because I didn't play Team Fortress 2, but I know that there was a spy in the game. So, kind of died out after that. There wasn't a whole lot of action as far as team shooters go post 2007 until about 7 years after that. In 2014, there were 2 games that were announced. And one of which was wildly popular, and one of which should have been wildly popular. Battleborn and a little small indie title known as Overwatch were announced. Battleborn made by Gearbox, was actually the first game to use the term hero shooter in its press, kind of letting you know exactly what you were getting into, because at that point it was a pretty popular and known term. And Overwatch was Overwatch, and we quickly learned that there was no game that existed beyond that. It won Game of the Year. Overwatch came out in 2016, won Game of the Year in 2016, had probably the biggest at the time pro scene, biggest impact on culture, I would say, for a game. There were just so many good things, but I'm not going to dive too much into the fall of Overwatch, because everybody and their mother and their pet dog and their aunt's cousin's nephew has done some sort of video on the death of Overwatch and the fall of Overwatch 2, and it's been said and done. I don't think you can talk about hero shooters without talking about it, but I'm going to try and not dive too deep or hang around it. And more importantly, I'm not just covering hero shooters. Let me actually break down what I am talking about here. So this video was inspired by just some introspective thinking that I was doing on myself and my gameplay and the games that I like and the characters that I like to play in those games that I like. And it got me interested in the class system of hero shooters. Why do the people who play tanks like to play tanks? Why do the people who play support like to play support? Why do the people who play DPS like to play DPS? Do you like to play DPS because you want good number go big and bad number stay small, and you like to hear clink, clink, dink, dink as you hit heads? Do you like to play DPS just because you have the mechanical skill to do so? And so I want to kind of dive in on that, and later I've got some small interview questions I'm going to ask some of my friends who I've known have played Overwatch, as much as, and some maybe not so much, but as much as I have, because I started in 2016, as the game dropped. And I'm also going to try and get some input from some top 500, top 100 current Eternity players in Marvel Rivals, because that's also one of the focuses of the video is Marvel Rivals. This video seems like it's kind of all over the place, but it'll condense, I promise. But after Overwatch, there was like Lawbreakers and Gigantic, and Battleborn died out, and I mean, since then there's also been like Apex Legends, Valorant, Overwatch 2 got released, and Marvel Rivals, which is where the story kind of starts here. As I played Overwatch more and more, I started as a tank player. And then as I played more and more, I played pretty much all the way through Overwatch. I was Masters, Grandmasters-ish tank, Reinhardt and Wrecking Ball specifically. But as I played more and more, I leaned more and more towards DPS. I just had more fun playing characters like Genji and Junkrat and Pharah and whatever. But then as Overwatch kind of ended and slowed down, I stopped playing as much in like maybe like the last like 6 months to a year that Overwatch was still alive. And when Overwatch 2 came out, I didn't really touch it. I didn't play much of it at all. And it just kind of went on like that. Like, I would play every now and then with my buddies, but it wasn't like a go-to grind, have fun type game like the first iteration was. But then Marvel Rivals comes out. And I suspected that as Marvel Rivals came out and I was getting into it with my buddies, that I would kind of gravitate directly back into the DPS role that I'd kind of found myself in towards the end of my Overwatch career, but I didn't. I immediately fell in with the tanks. I immediately fell in with Doctor Strange and Venom and Captain America, and it shocked me, and I wondered why. Don't get me wrong, I love playing DPS. I love playing support. I love playing tank. I love all of it. But there's something about tanks that just gets, my brain gets. My brain understands it. My brain understands how the game sense works, the ult tracking, the positioning, the pushes, the target callouts. I understand playing tank better than I understand other roles. And I started kind of thinking inwardly about why that is. And so I kind of came to the conclusion that I like being the initiator. I personally like to be the one who takes the first step. When I'm playing a tank, that means I get to put my shield up and I get to walk forward and I get to make the space, or I get to land a key ability and create space, or I get to, if I'm playing Magneto, I get to put a bubble on somebody while they dive in and they get a kill because of my bubble, and I've helped make space there, and we push in. I like to be the initiator. I like to be the first one in to make the fight easier for the rest of the team. And so then I was like, okay, well, that's why I like to play tanks. What about DPS do I enjoy? I like to play DPS because I like to be the initiator. I looked at the DPS that I play: Star-Lord, Hawkeye, Psylocke. I like to play the characters that can get an opening pick, that can start the fight, that can create a 6v5 from jump. So the reason that I like to play tank and the reason that I like to play DPS are the same. I like to be the first one in and the first one to do something and the first one to make something happen. I like to be aggressive. And so then I started thinking, okay, well, why do I not like to play support as much? Because I love to play support, but it is by far and away not my preferred role. And I started thinking about why. Why do I not enjoy playing support as much? Because I can't initiate. I can't be the first one in. I have to let other people take that step first. And then I have to back them up, which is fine and fun, but it is not what I enjoy about these kinds of games, about these hero shooter type games. And so with that psychology in mind for me, I went to some of my friends, asked them a couple of questions, and then I tried to go get the attention of some top 500 Eternity players to get their opinions and see kind of what they think, and if they have a similar mindset, if they have a similar thought process. Why do people like the characters that they like? I'm going to try to push past some of the easier answers, like I don't have good aim, so I don't play DPS, or something like that. So, something that is actionable and changeable, I want to push past and get beyond and see. I want to see if other people's brains work the same as mine, and especially I'm interested in the top 500 and Eternity level players that I'm going to try to go to their streams and get them to pay attention to me and answer my questions. So we'll see you then. Okay, buddy. So I have a couple of questions to ask you in regards to the video that I'm doing. So we've been playing Overwatch since like just a few months after it dropped, right? I think we got it like at the end of the summer or into the fall of 2016.
Yeah, it came out in May. I had gotten home from AIT when I was in Arizona for training, and then I bought it pretty much as soon as I got back, and that's when I met you guys. So,
Right, when we were working together.
right. So that for me, that was September. So
Yeah, because I remember Mitch was the one that put me on, and he was like, "You need to get this. You need to get this game."
yes,
And
you guys got it right before that, and I came, and I was like a couple weeks behind you guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, September of 2019. No, September of 2016.
yeah, little did we know that would be the next decade of our life.
Yeah, exactly.
So doing this video is looking at like the psychology of why people like playing the things they like to play. Between like tank, DPS, and support, you know, we've been playing so long that we can kind of bounce around to either of them and find fun and whatever in all of it. But it's not hard to say that we gravitate towards one or the other. What role do you identify most with?
I guess with Overwatch it's tank. But if we're talking overall, I still think it'd be tank, even going back to Overwatch 1. I mean, I would kind of move around a lot purely because there was, I mean, shit, those first at least year and a half, 2 years of us playing Overwatch 1, there was a constant 4 to 5 people playing every night. I mean, at this point, no one plays Overwatch right now, currently.
Yep.
You know, what are you, a month and a half, five and a half weeks into Marvel Rivals?
Yeah.
Even before then, I mean, this last 2.5 years, I mean, pretty much ever since Overwatch 2 came out, we do not have a group. So that really restricts people's playing time on Overwatch specifically.
Yeah, and to follow that point, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. To follow up that point, I'm on Twitch right now looking at the viewership of games, and Marvel Rivals has 118K viewers right now, and Overwatch 2 has 9.7K viewers. So that's not even an us thing. That's just an overall.
Yeah, I think that's just. I think everyone's kind of sick and tired of Overwatch.
Yeah.
But I mean, just with like any new game, I mean, there's a lot of factors. But to get back to the point of my choices, I mean, just straight away tank.
Okay.
Really, whatever the team needs.
Yeah.
That's always been my motto. For Rivals, I do not gravitate towards one or the other because it all is fun still. It's still new.
Yeah, you haven't found your niche. So to bounce off of that, the idea behind the video. So we'll just say, you know, tank, as you said, is kind of what you normally lean towards. Do you have any introspective thoughts as to why? What about tanks appeals to you?
I think it's purely the if you're getting heals, not even pocketed, if you're just getting your standard heals, even by one healer, or able to hold your ground, you're able to last longer purely off of how much health you have compared to everybody else.
Right.
I think a lot of the time, if I'm gonna go tank, I can kind of go brain dead as long as I have heals.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to be the smartest person on the map. I don't need to be the most strategic.
Yeah.
I purely am there for a specific reason, and that's to absorb as much damage as possible.
Right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go around the group and ask everybody the same questions and see how they go. I'm not sure what I'm after with the video, but I just think it's really interesting to think about stuff like that. So I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, of course.
Hi, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Kui, you and I have been playing Overwatch since, I mean, pretty much launch, about the same as Josh and I. We all kind of got it around the same time.
You were the one that got me into it.
Yeah, and I was brought into it because of Mitch. Yeah. And so we've been playing long enough that we can all bounce around from, class to class and be pretty much fine with playing anything. But I don't think it's difficult to say that we each have our like role that we lean towards. And I'd also say it's a safe pick to say that yours is support.
Shocking. Yes,
Yeah,
no, you're
crazy.
Yes.
So I just have a question. What about support do you like? What about support do you enjoy playing?
So, for the first thing that comes to mind is that with the support characters, they usually are more forgiving with bad aim, which I have
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's usually why I tend to start there.
Mhm.
But also, I don't know. I like support characters and in playing them in all kinds of games.
Right.
Like D&D, I like playing clerics and other bards and other supporty
Mm-hmm.
things. And just helping the party. I think my thing is I would rather help people get awesome moments than be like focused on trying to get them myself half the time.
Right.
And like I'm cool with just being like, hey, thanks for the heals every now and then. It's less pressure too for me, I think, too.
Yeah.
Than being on the front line and being that person.
Yeah, because it's always like, we're not killing enough. DPS, why aren't you doing your job? Or
Yes.
we keep dying. Tanks, why aren't you doing your job? It's it's common.
Exactly.
It's common to hear people complain about heals, but when it comes down to it, like pressure of the moment, a lot of times that can be, yeah.
Which is crazy. But know that the healers were in the background side-eyeing.
Yeah, yeah.
We're just not saying it.
Yeah.
We don't want to discourage anybody anymore, but we're side-eyeing in the background.
Right. And I thought it was interesting that you mentioned that you would rather, in a lot of cases, you would rather help facilitate those like big moments and big plays for other people. And that's interesting. I'm wondering, I don't know, I feel like it might be like just shallow and blunt to say why, but that's a really interesting like take on that kind of thing. It's not typical.
Yeah.
If you don't mind to touch on that a little more, I'd be interested.
Well, I think it's just because, to me, it's a team game,
Mhm.
and I can tell, like, it's not. I just want to win. I don't care about like having flashy moments or anything. Like I like having them from time to time, and if I do get a play of the game or whatever, then like it's dope. It feels even more dope when it happens and you're a support player too.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think that's cooler to me. But yeah, it's just not in the forefront of my mind when I'm playing. I just want everyone. Also, just with the being yelled at as a support player when you're not doing great, I'm
Yeah.
really leaning towards just making sure everyone is alive,
Right.
and we're doing as good as possible. And I think even I feel like my playstyle is also a lot like I like the team to be together,
Mhm.
grouped up. So it just goes a lot smoother, and that just works better with my brain when I'm focusing on trying to keep everyone corralled and
Right.
keeping everyone alive, as opposed to let me go up and flank this guy and then I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna die in the back,
Yeah.
That just doesn't speak to me as much, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. You enjoy running the daycare that is taking care of people in games like this.
Exactly.
Okay.
Put the band-aid on the finger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kiss it, make it better.
Okay. Cool. Well, I don't have really anything else, but I appreciate your time and I appreciate your thoughts.
Oh yes, of course, anytime.
Thank you so much. Bye kisses. Mwah.
Bye, the keys, bye.
Okay. Hey buddy, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I know you don't have exactly as much experience with hero shooters as I do, or some of our other friends that I'm going to ask these same questions to, but I still wanted to get your opinion because you do play with us.
Yeah, probably 1/64th of the experience of anybody in there.
Yeah. So first off, just kind of the base ground level of who do you like to play in a hero shooter like this? Like Marvel Rivals specifically, let me frame it that way. Who do you like to play?
In Marvel Rivals, it depends on the day. Sometimes DPS, sometimes healer. I don't think I've even played enough to really know which one that I definitively like playing more.
Right. Okay. So what about the DPS or the healers that you play? It's like, okay, so let's say, I know I've seen you play DPS, I think the most. And I think it's been like Punisher and Magic. What about those do you enjoy? Because I'm trying to dig at like why.
No, keep going.
I'm trying to dig at why people play the things that they like. If it's, you know, something innate and mechanical, or you identify with the character itself or the play style, you know, whatever. What about the characters that you play do you enjoy?
With the Punisher, I started with the Punisher because it was more of a response of me getting quasi forced to play healers in Overwatch because every single one of y'all was significantly better than me at Overwatch. So I was like, Mercy, no aim. Moira, no aim. If I did play DPS, it was May, no aim,
Right.
barely any game sense. I can wall off my own teammates. It's great.
Yeah.
The Punisher was a response to that, where I was like, I'm playing DPS in this one. I want to do something different, switch it up. And I picked Punisher because more mechanical aiming, and that's normally more my jam. And I was like, I'm gonna play this game as the Punisher, but focus on my tracking with his assault rifle, and then focus on the flicks with the shotgun. So I was like, I can play this game, and it's a hero shooter, play with my friends, you know, but also get better, like sort of practice my mechanical aim for other games that I play.
Yeah, and that leans back on more of your foundation in, you know, like gaming, or at least like shooter games and stuff like that, because you got a lot more experience in like CSGO and COD and stuff like that. So okay, cool.
But I don't actually know which one I like better yet.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think I've put enough time into DPS. I could it could be one of those things where I get sick of it.
Yeah.
A little bit later, and then just switch back to healers, or try out tanks, because that's something I've literally never done.
Yeah, I mean, from personal experience, back whenever we were playing Overwatch, yeah, I grinded up to like grandmasters level, like on the border, because I'd played tank and I'd played Reinhardt for, you know, a couple of years, and then Wrecking Ball came out, and I was like, yeah, not really my style. I don't really like the dive tanks. And then I tried them, and I was like, by God, I found my boy.
Right.
So yeah, it could be one of those things where you're just like, well, I don't know, let me give Magneto a shot for a game. We need a tank, and I'm bored. And then yeah, you just become one with the keyboard.
a couple games, I'm like, my fingers.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, that's really it. I don't have a whole lot. You know, these aren't super in depth because I'm not a psychologist and I don't really know what I'm after, but I just think it's interesting.
Don't let that stop you.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. If I've learned anything from you, that's it.
Yeah. Don't let qualifications stop you ever.
All right. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Mwah.
Mwah. Okay. So, those were, you know, a couple of the buddies that I play with. I brought those questions to them just to kind of get their thoughts, kind of similar to the introspective thoughts that I had about myself and the characters that I like to play. You can see the answers that they gave were, you know, a little bit on the line with the kind of things that I kind of suspected, the kind of things that I also thought about myself. I know in the beginning I said that I didn't really know what I was after, but I still don't really, but it's interesting to hear other people's thoughts and how they think about the game and the characters that they play. And I'll kind of get into my overall takeaways and thoughts on the, you know, idea of the video and the video itself and the interview questions and all that. I'll get into that after this next segment, but I tried to go to some streamers and get them to answer the same questions, and it was kind of a flawed approach because, you know, I came to my friends with these questions where I had them one-on-one in Discord calls, and that's obviously not something that I have the clout to do. I can't, you know, pull Tim the Tatman or Ninja into a Discord call and say, hey, what do you think about the people you like to play? You know, I can't do that. So instead what I did is went to their chats and, you know, either just threw a comment in there or, you know, something in the chat, or donated to them to get them to for sure see the message and maybe prompt them to respond a little bit more in depth. And it was a little hit and miss, as you'll see. But after we get the opinion of a couple of you know, of the pinnacle of players of Marvel Rivals currently, I'll be back and I'll share my my ending thoughts and my takeaways. So enjoy.
What is your favorite part about playing support? What aspect do you like the most? It's just something different. I feel like healing your teammates and keeping them alive to do stuff feels very rewarding. And I like the kit of Invisible Woman a lot. That's probably also a big reason. It's just something different. Like in Overwatch, I was a DPS main. But in Overwatch 2, I started playing healer more and more. And I just seemed to enjoy supporting the team for once. Because I was always a carry player, like a DPS, a 1v9 machine. So trying out the different aspects of the game is definitely a new and fun experience for me.
Oh, by the way, Jelly, appreciate I don't know on YouTube, my friend. Sorry. What was your favorite part about playing DPS? I don't know what you mean. What was my favorite part about playing DPS? Are you talking about in general? I'm just a DPS player. It's my favorite. I just love playing DPS. I feel like, I don't know. I do like healing in some games. Like a game that I really, wait, what's this guy's name? Poop Chimp? A game that I really liked healing in was probably World of Warcraft, chat. Oh wait, speaking about like World of Warcraft and shit.
I just like tanking. I like
I guess it's time, buddy.
Which hero do you think you want to be today?
Okay, so as you saw, the success rate of getting the streamers to give me a introspective and thoughtful answer was not super great. The Legend was kind of exactly what I was looking for, but the other two, who are granted a bit bigger streamers, probably have less time to look at chat and think about things like that. Kind of probably caught them a little unawares, but either way, I still thought that it was a fairly fitting answer in a weird way. You know, with J3 saying that he's a DPS player, he loves it. He does enjoy healing in some other games like World of Warcraft, and with Bogur just saying that he likes to be bulky, and I think that that's a also perfectly fine answer. And I guess the takeaway from the conversations that I had with my friends and the answers that I got from the few streamers that I reached out to, which I was going to reach out to more, but after seeing those two answers, I kind of realized that wasn't going to be a very successful way of approaching it, so I kind of scrapped the rest of the idea. But all of that being said, it still left me with this interesting conclusion, I think. And maybe I'm reading too far into it, but it's something that I'm passionate about, so I wanted to share and I wanted to make this video. You know, if you can think about the reason why you enjoy playing the characters that you like, and you're able to identify that, and you're able to identify why you don't necessarily like the other playstyles or characters or strategies, or, you know, and this expands beyond hero shooters, but, you know, I'm trying to keep it in this scope because I know, you know, a little bit more about this than a lot of other things. But it can help you identify your personal faults and your personal weaknesses in certain areas of games like this. Like after realizing, you know, the reason that I gravitate towards tanks and DPS the way that I do, I've been focused on playing different types of tanks and different types of DPS. I've been focused on playing support more and focusing on not being the first one in and worrying about my positioning and my playstyle to support the team as they are the first ones in. And I think thinking about things like this a little more in depth can improve you as a player here. And I mean, if I really want to get like deeply philosophical, can improve you in other aspects of life if you just take the time to sit down and think introspectively about things. But I don't think I'm like breaking any new ground in saying that. So, you know, this 30-ish minute video kind of just sums up to, yeah, I think things, therefore I am things, as some smart guy said in the past. I don't know. Yeah, thank you all for watching and sticking around to the end if you did. You can catch me live pretty much every night on Twitch, and I'm gonna start maybe doing more videos like this and some gameplay videos, and I would say TikTok, but as of today, let me date the video, it's gonna be banned in a couple of hours, if that's actually gonna happen or not. But whatever the app that follows that, I'll start posting clips there as well, and yeah, you can find me kind of all over the place. twitch.tv/jelly_squid, spelled just like the channel. If you're watching the video, you know where my YouTube channel is, and the username's the same across pretty much every other platform. So I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll find something interesting to yap about next time. And speaking of next time, I'll see you there.